Well, just a few years ago, it was all the craze, meatless Mondays and the push to move away from meat. But new research now shows the one generation many feared would cause meat demand to drop is now the generation that can't get enough of it. Millennials get a bad rap.
But that millennial group has often been accused of just, not consuming meat in the way that others have.
But a new report called The Power of Meat shows millennials are now the biggest spenders on meat.
It did surprise me. All too often we hear that the millennial age group is really questioning a lot of how meat is produced. They don't eat as much as the baby boomer generation.
The Power of Meat report shows meat sales hit a record high of $104.6 billion last year. Pounds sold increased 2.3%, and nearly all American households purchased meat, with 73% viewing meat as an overall healthy choice.
What is happening is we worried a lot about whether millennials were going to be meat and poultry consumers like the generations before them. The answer is a resounding yes. If you look at the older half of the millennials, they drove a ton of the growth. So the meat industry at retail had 500 million more packages sold in 24 than they did in 23. That's incredible. 500 million more packages.
The report also found the average American shops for meat 54 times a year and spends $16.12 on the meat per trip.
Well, I think there's been a lot of fear out there about what's going to happen as the baby boomers phase out and the millennials become the bigger buying group. But the latest report shows that millennials were all in this past year in 2024.
Why? Well, Farm Journal's pork brand lead, Jennifer Scheich, says she thinks it's due to more millennials having children and them loving meat.
But the truth is, the millennials, like everybody, everything's about protein right now, and everybody's wanting to find protein and also find wholesome foods. And meat is perfect for that because you're getting that protein and it's one ingredient.
The power of meat is one millennials are gobbling up as consumer meat sales in 2024 hit a record high. Well, that's all the time we have this weekend. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to join us next weekend as we work to build on our tradition. Have a great weekend, everyone.
U.S. Farm Report is produced and distributed by Farm Journal Broadcast.